She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
After weeks of backlash, the hosts of The View were forced to publicly apologize to Donald Trump's 27-year-old press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. But what exactly did Joy Behar say that triggered such a massive backlash? Let's break it all down. The controversy started when Joy Behar mocked Leavitt, suggesting she only got her job as Trump's press secretary because of her looks, not her qualifications. The comment immediately sparked outrage, with critics calling Behar's words sexist and hypocritical.
She said there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because
ABC and The View tried to ignore the backlash, but as the pressure kept growing, they had no choice but to address it. Now, after legal threats and mounting public outrage, they're struggling to repair the damage. This was the exact comment from Joy Behar. I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. After the comment, there was silence everywhere in the room. Even Behar's co-hosts, who are used to her provocative style, looked visibly uncomfortable. Whoopi Goldberg awkwardly shifted in her chair, and Sarah Haynes glanced at the producers like she couldn't believe what she'd just heard.
I'm stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job, Karoline Leavitt. She's just 27 years old.
But the real explosion happened online. Within minutes, clips of the segment spread like wildfire. Backlash was immediate and brutal. Fans, journalists, and even liberal commentators called out the blatant sexism. People highlighted Behar's hypocrisy, reminding everyone that The View constantly preaches female empowerment. And it only got worse when viewers dug into Behar's history of inflammatory remarks. From bashing conservative women to mocking religion, it became clear that this wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a larger pattern of behavior. The View has always branded itself as a safe space for women to express their opinions. But now, their most outspoken host was being accused of tearing down a woman based solely on her appearance. The public wasn't buying the "it was just a joke" defense. They wanted accountability. And Karoline Leavitt wasn't staying silent either. If Joy Behar thought her comment would just fade into the news cycle, she was dead wrong. Within hours of The View's broadcast, Karoline Leavitt fired back, making it clear she wasn't going to let this slide. Instead of staying silent or brushing off the remark, she went on the offensive, calling out Behar for what she saw as blatant sexism, hypocrisy, and media bias. Reports started circulating that Leavitt's legal team was exploring a possible defamation lawsuit against Behar and The View. Legal analysts quickly weighed in, explaining that while defamation is notoriously hard to prove, Leavitt had a strong case because of Behar's comment.
We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that.
The comment directly attacked Leavitt's credibility and professional standing. It also suggested that Leavitt was unqualified for her role, diminishing her reputation on a national platform. At this point, ABC was officially in damage control mode. Behind closed doors at ABC headquarters, the panic was real. Executives were now facing a crisis they couldn't ignore. For years, Joy Behar had been one of The View's most controversial hosts, and while she had survived countless scandals before, this one was different. This wasn't just offensive, it was legally risky. If Leavitt followed through on her lawsuit, ABC could be dragged into court, facing millions in legal fees and settlements. The backlash wasn't just from conservatives. Even moderate and left-leaning viewers were calling out Behar for undermining another woman's success. Women's rights advocates were put in a tough position. Do they defend Behar or stand by their principles?
As far as this administration goes, I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
Sponsors were getting nervous. Multiple major advertisers had quietly expressed concerns about the backlash. The View is a highly lucrative show, and ABC couldn't afford to lose ad revenue over Behar's mistake. So what were ABC's options? Do nothing. This was too risky. The scandal was growing too fast for them to ignore. A half-hearted apology might work for some, but given the scale of the outrage, would it be enough? This was the nuclear option. If ABC decided to push Behar out, it would send a strong message, but also risk alienating her loyal audience. At this point, executives were split. Some felt Behar had finally crossed the line and it was time for her to go. Others argued that firing her would set a dangerous precedent, possibly fueling claims that ABC was silencing liberal voices. Meanwhile, Behar was defiant. According to insiders, she refused to apologize at first. She reportedly dismissed the backlash as just another conservative outrage cycle and didn't believe she had done anything wrong. But with pressure mounting, advertisers advertisers watching, and legal threats looming, ABC was left with no choice. They had to force the View hosts to apologize. And what happened next was something no one saw coming. This incident underscores the potential consequences of public figures making undervalued remarks and highlights the legal avenues available to those who believe they have been defamed. In the wake of Joy Behar's controversial remarks about Karoline Leavitt, ABC executives found themselves in a dangerous position. Behar's suggestion that Leavitt's appointment as White House press secretary was based solely on her appearance ignited a firestorm of criticism and led to a defamation lawsuit filed by Leavitt. The legal implications, combined with mounting public backlash, rendered Behar a significant liability for the network.
What's in the air, Whoopi?
What's in the air?
Trumpism. Half of this country is miserable. And let's just tell the truth. We hate that he won.
The internet blew up following Joy Behar's sudden departure from The View, igniting a fierce debate over the implications of her exit. Social media platforms became battlegrounds where opinions clashed over whether this was a victory for accountability or a manifestation of cancel culture. Supporters of Behar's removal argue that her comment about Karoline Leavitt was not only inappropriate but also hypocritical, especially given her long-standing advocacy for women's rights. They contend that holding public figures accountable for their words is essential, regardless of their status or tenure. Amidst the uproar, discussions have also emerged about the role of media in shaping public perception and the fine line between accountability and censorship. The incident has prompted media outlets to reflect on their responsibilities and the potential chilling effect of swift punitive actions. As the dust settles, the broader implications of Behar's departure continue to resonate, prompting introspection within the media industry and among audiences about the values of free expression, responsibility, and the evolving standards of public discourse. As The View approaches its 28th season, significant changes are underway. The show has recently moved to a new state-of-the-art studio located in downtown Manhattan, enhancing its production capabilities and audience experience. As The View continues to evolve, questions arise about its future direction. Will the introduction of The Weekend View and the new studio setting influence the show's format and content? How will the dynamics among co-hosts adapt to these changes? Viewers and industry insiders alike are keenly observing how these developments will shape the show's trajectory in the coming months. With Joy Behar's sudden departure, The View is now facing one of its biggest shakeups in years. The question on everyone's mind is, who will take her place? Behar was not just another panelist, she was a defining voice on the show for decades. Her sharp wit, unfiltered opinions, and fiery exchanges made her a polarizing yet essential figure. Now, ABC has a critical decision to make. Will they bring in a familiar face, or will they take a risk with a fresh and unexpected choice? Joy Behar's forced apology may have been The View's attempt at damage control, but the controversy has left a lasting mark on the show's credibility. Many viewers aren't convinced the hosts have truly learned their lesson, and now the spotlight is turning to the entire panel. For years, The View has built its brand on heated debates, controversial takes, and unfiltered discussions. But where is the line? If Joy Behar's remarks about Karoline Leavitt were bad enough to require an apology, then what about the countless other moments where the hosts have dismissed, mocked, or belittled conservative women? Critics are now calling for ABC to hold all the hosts accountable for their past rhetoric. Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and Anna Navarro have all made questionable comments about politicians, journalists, and even their own guests, often with no consequences whatsoever. Some conservatives argue that Behar's apology was only issued because the backlash was too big to ignore. If the audience hadn't demanded accountability, would ABC have let it slide like they have so many times before? The network is now facing serious pressure to reassess the show's tone. While The View thrives on controversy, it can't afford to keep alienating its audience, especially with ratings becoming more unpredictable. The show has already lost key voices like Meghan McCain, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and Jedediah Bila, leaving the panel lopsided in its political representation. With Behar's credibility taking a hit, some insiders believe that ABC might be considering major changes behind the scenes. Will the network introduce a stronger conservative voice to balance the show, or will they double down on their current format, hoping the controversy fades? Either way, the fallout from this scandal isn't over. Viewers are watching closely, advertisers are paying attention, and the hosts themselves are walking on thinner ice than ever before. So the big question remains, was this just another media firestorm that will eventually blow over, or is this the start of a bigger reckoning for The View?